Well, ladies and gentlemen, we finally did our first karting meet in nearly 12 months. It's been a minute, hasn't it? And much like the last one, it was at Barossa. Much like the last one, it was in the wet, which in part was deliberate when I saw the weather forecast, because I've noticed I've suspected that we have a bit of a power issue. I couldn't really put a finger on it, but I thought, look, we seem to do a little bit better in the wet so far as pace goes. We seem to have a reasonably good feel under brakes, and I had a new set of wet tyres, so why not? And of course, when you're in the wet, it somewhat makes up for your lack of power. So I thought, let's roll the dice. It's not particularly pleasant being out there all day, walking around with wet boots, but it is what it is, and it's normally pretty interesting on the track. But while we've had some good pace in wet meets in the past, I found there's a little bit of a reliability issue. That is to say, we normally end up having some sort of incident in a couple of the races, and then we fall down on points. And this meet didn't end up being any different, unfortunately. So I'm going to go through very briefly the first couple of races. And from the outset, I should say it got reduced from 5 races to 4 because of the conditions, and I think people were a bit over it. But I've got footage from race 3 and race 4. So race 3 was quite interesting. I'm going to talk about that from beginning to end, and race 4 I'll touch on. But race 1, we go out there, we've drawn 4th to start for the first 2 races, and we didn't even make the start. We're coming around and the kart just stops. I thought, oh, that's a great start, isn't it? Not entirely sure what happened, but this was just as the rain started coming down properly, and I don't think anyone had their snorkels on, or if they did, I certainly didn't. So there could be some water in the engine. But anyway, that was race 1. We didn't even make the start. So I thought, well, we really can't afford to lose any more. Race 2. Race 2 is kind of on us, but race 2 was also a DNF. So we drew 4th again on the grid, and off we go. We went from 4th to 2nd, and we had a reasonable pace. We were pushing the leader, and then another kart came through, had been running pretty much fastest all day, and I thought, I'm still finding my feet, but I'm just going to try and follow him through when he goes for the lead. And I had a go, and yeah, as I say, it was on me. It was a move that wasn't really on, and I ended up spinning, ending up on the curve. Of course, as luck would have it, I literally ended up on the middle of the curve, and although I still had the kart running, I was beached. So I got out of the kart, pretty much lost a lap, and rather than pushing it onto the track and getting in people's way and causing a hazard, I pulled it off and called time on that race as well. So I knew at that point we were not going to factor in the results at the end of the day, no matter what we did in the last races. Race 3, we drew the pole. This should have been a good race, but rather than me talking about it up front, I'm going to do a commentary on this race from beginning to end, because it was actually quite interesting. So here we are exiting the pits. I have drawn the pole. I'm hoping to take advantage of that. So right from the outset here, I am getting down to business on these formation laps, just looking for where the grip is so I can hopefully make good use of it when we get to the green light. It's probably a little bit futile to suggest we can get much by way of heat into the tyres, but anything we do get, bonus. As you can see, I have well and truly disappeared from the field, so I am going to have to slow this down fairly soon and allow them to catch up, because we've only got the 2 laps. And as we move around here onto the start-finish straight, I'm just going to move over to the left, which is going to be where I'm going to be starting from. And if you look back, you will see the field starting to catch up. So I've had to slow right down. And here they come. So my revs are pretty low here. I'm not really sure whether this contributed to what is about to happen. Right behind me is number 83, Blake Dewey, and just to the side of him is Jack Ryan. I think in second is number 12. I'm not sure who number 12 is. So the guy who is winning the races today is Jack Ryan. They're going to be pretty competitive. As we come here onto the second last straight, it stalls. It stalls. And I'm looking here at perhaps another DNF after 2 in the first 2 races. And I'm not the only one. There's another guy there as, I think it might be number 12, the stall. I jump out, pull start the motor, and I'm back in because it works. I didn't expect that to happen. And had that been a Karting Australia race, I'd have been disqualified on the spot. But it's not. So happy days, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm thinking that the field has gone. They've got the green and they're racing, and so I'm basically the best part of 3/4 of a lap down at this point. And we're just going to be having some clean laps to see what we can do. But what I don't know is, I think Blake Dewey has moved up into my position. He's controlling the field. He's seen I got going, and he's slowed everyone down. So they're going off for another formation lap. So thanks, Blake. Are we going to be able to catch up to the field? Unlikely, but we might be close enough to go racing, albeit from the back, which is disappointing, but it's one of those things. So they're just going onto the main straight now. They have gone, they've started on the best part of a straight behind, but I am up to speed, and while they're getting their stuff together, you can see the spray ahead. I might still be in a better position to pull in some of that gap, and I'm totally on it at this point. Whereas they're all racing each other. So as you can see, we have pulled in a lot of the gap. Under braking, my kart seems pretty good, and I'm really quite happy with it. On the straights, we are lacking power. There's no question about that. But moving up on number 12 now, I'm going to see whether I can pass him in the normal position on the straight. We are able to do it, only just. Really struggling there. So we're back on it again. And I think we might have lost some more competitors at some place, because I'm actually now in 4th position. So ahead of me is Jack Ryan leading, Blake Dewey 2nd, Colin Williams is 3rd. And you might be struggling to see them a little bit because the visibility is not great. I guarantee you with a helmet and it misting up, it's even harder to see. Most of us are like driving around with our visor partly open just to try and clear it. But you can see now Blake Dewey and Colin Williams right ahead of me. So we've made some good progress. And let's see if we can look for an opportunity to get past them. They're in a little bit of a race of their own here, so that might work for us if we can catch them napping. I don't know if Colin has seen me yet. Starting to size up where we might have an opportunity. We're definitely closing right up on that left-hander. No room there because they're racing each other, but had that been in the dry, I may have been a little bit more aggressive there going around the sweeper, but there is a bottleneck before it, which is a bit unfortunate sometimes. And as you can see, we're not really pulling anything in on straight, so we're going to have to do it somewhere else. Again, approaching the left-hander here, catching up under brakes, and we're going to commit to a pass here at the right-hander, which we do. Unfortunately, we overcommit a little bit, and Colin goes back through. Nothing wrong with that. Very tidy driving. I'm hoping to get a run on him on the straight because he would have lost a bit of momentum, but nothing. You will see me have a look from time to time, even when I'm not pulling a move, just to get in their peripheral vision, to keep them thinking. Again, having a look on the outside, moving into the sweeper, but you've got to be brave if you're going to do that. And again, looking for a bit of traction, so I've gone a bit wide, but it's just not working for me at all. And I've actually lost a little bit there. So again, we do seem to do very well approaching this left-hander. Can we catch up under brakes? We do. Can we catch up enough to have another go at this right-hander? We do, and we make another move. And deja vu. Colin goes straight back around the outside. And yeah, I mean, it must be a little bit entertaining watching this. But I'm still hoping I can get through and go after Blake, but we are starting to really run out of laps here. So it might just be a race between the two of us here for third. And you know, by this stage, he knows where I'm going to be strong, where I'm not, and he's probably going to be a little bit more defensive there. Takes a much tighter line on that occasion for the right-hander. But in doing so, he does go a bit wide, and he opens the door up a bit here. But again, it would have been a little bit brave and maybe not so polite for me to push that. So I fall back, and we'll have a look to see if we can do it somewhere else. Now, I know we're probably moving the last couple of laps here, so we are running out of opportunities. Again, we're close, and we have a little look on that right-hander, but the gap wasn't there at all then. He's driving a little bit more defensively, so I don't manage to get through. And I'm thinking, what, maybe one more lap at best. Let's see if we can pull something off. It's probably going to take a mistake at this stage to be able to do it. And there's no way he was going to have it there. So I think we've literally got one corner to go here. And a look around the outside, but that wasn't going to happen. And we get the checkered flag. So great race. Number 61 Jack Ryan winning, 83 Blake Dewey second, 16 Colin Williams third. Yeah, no contact between us for the whole race, which is always nice. And I think all of the guys in this, or most of the guys in this, are of an older caliber, shall we say. So even though it is in the wet and things can go wrong, we've managed to get through it unscathed for the most part, providing you can get your car to run, which isn't always the case, as you can see with the wet weather. But I think we're all pretty happy. We all enjoyed that. Yes, it would have been nice to make the most of the pole. That didn't happen. Such is life. So we'll just give Colin a bit of a well done here, and we'll move on and think about the next race. Race 4. Because we'd drawn the pole on the previous race, even though we basically got no benefit out of it, we were relegated to the back of the field. So I had to do basically exactly what I did on the previous race. I had to try and work my way forward from the back. And this was another interesting race where we had some pretty good pace, but we just didn't matter what we did. We just couldn't find the pace in the right spot on the straights. And but we battled hard, and were running fourth, and then fourth became the third when the leader ended up doing going off. I didn't see exactly what happened. So, you know, out of the three at the front remaining, I think we comfortably had probably a little bit more pace, which was a nice feeling. It's just we just couldn't translate it to anything. But yeah, we didn't disgrace ourselves by any stretch of the imagination. So having done this meet, notwithstanding that we didn't get the results that I hoped, we were able to establish that we could still drive at a competitive pace, more than competitive in the wet as it turned out, and even in the dry, because the warm-up was dry. We were only a couple of tenths off the pace, which was a little bit of a surprise, to be honest. But what I really wanted to find out was whether or not my perception that we were down on power was correct, or whether I was just, you know, a bit rusty. So I took the motor down to Tim Murphy, T4, and he put it on his dyno. And as you all know, he's a bit of a guru when it comes to 4SS and Torini motors. And sure enough, the data suggested that we were considerably down on power. So that tends to correlate with, the difficulty I felt I was having overtaking on the main straight, even though, I was trying all kinds of different lines to get grip moving onto the straight. He then did a bit of tuning, and if the data is to be believed, and I would suggest it is, we've found a considerable, or rather Tim's found a considerable amount more power, perhaps between 0.5 to 0.7 of a horsepower. That's not insignificant for a Turini motor. So from here, having really enjoyed the meet, I think we'll do a few more. And I've got to say, I really like the Kartsport format, and there's a few more of them coming up. So I think maybe we'll look at doing another meet and seeing if we can be a little bit more competitive.